Life in a world that keeps changing. Think that it's progress you're making. Copy and paste pretty faces all the time. Pictures so perfect we play.
Hello everyone, welcome to Anointed Lady TV, the home of news and politics. If it is your first time in this channel, you are highly welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you like what we do on this channel, hit on the subscribe button, also put on the notification bell so you'll be notified by YouTube anytime we drop a new video. And if you are returning subscribers, thank you very much for always coming back to watch our videos. On this platform, we drop videos every day and we react to every video that come our way. And on this very video, I will be watching with you. And after watching, let's go to the comment section and drop our opinion constructively. Like our videos and also share our videos if possible. See you next time in my
already now the issues before the tribunals. And as a lawyer, those are domains which will live for them now. But the most important message, which is part of this engagement this morning, is that the judges, the judiciary, must be mindful of its place in the practice of democracy. But I've said that the judiciary in England, judges in England, they were mindful of the fact that if the court of law is now made to answer political questions, such as who's a candidate, the political party, as we have seen, with all the aberration we saw during the political party primaries. The fear in England was that there would be a capture of the judiciary. Today, in our country, you could see politicians bragging all over the place, something that is unheard of in England, of judges, their friends, that they can do whatever they get. They say go to court. That is what they tell you every time. The reason why that has been so, which is the lesson I want us to draw from the experience in the United Kingdom, was that judges were so strict to discourage people to come to the court. That is, by giving justice and conduct it to the law, both substantive and procedural. Whenever there's a violation of a procedure, you'll be held accountable. Judges, the judiciary, held political elite accountable in England. And that's why they are afraid of judiciary in England. They are afraid of judges in England. But in Nigeria, those who willfully go out to violate the electoral process, to undermine the integrity of public institutions, they are the first to tell you that you should go to court. So the question now is for judges, and for the judiciary to reflect on this. Why is it that people gleefully violate the law and they tell their opponent, go to court? This is the lesson that we must end. That is to say that today you are the last line of defense in defense of democracy and the rule of law. The judiciary must stand
of the elections as conducted by INEC after the process, because before the election we all had expectations.
You know, I said there are three broad phases of the conduct of election. As a matter of fact, the 2023 election process is not yet ended. So we are now at the level of the judiciary. And I expressed my concern about the fact that my votary had only been the process. That if the process is seem acceptable, at least by majority of people, the outcome will go without fuse. And that the whole design of the innovation that we have been working on for years, particularly those provisions that were resisted for 20 years, that have now changed under the 2022 Electoral Act, were all intended to ensure that at the end of the election, that the vote of the Nigerian people should be determined finally and conclusively at the polling unit, not in the court of law, not in the court of law. My reference to the UK was how judiciary discouraged politicians from coming to the court by asking people to go to the polling unit, go to the police station. Let that be determined finally and conclusively. Today, Dr. Abati, despite all of that, we have now found ourselves in the tribunal across the country, to the extent that even the innovations that we have developed, that have been used to conduct over 105 elections, many of you were not even challenged and all that. But because of issue of deviation from conformity to the election, particularly what we saw in the second phase of election, where it was a case of a free-for-all. Do whatever you like. You can go to court. Now, if you look at what is happening now, as we speak, Dr. Abati, when I talk about the implication why we must move away, why election must end finally at the polling unit, is the fact that as we speak, Dr. Abati, because of this now, look at Section 285. Section 285 was actually an amendment that came in on the 6th of January 2011 to streamline the time within which matters will be determined in court, where you said the first leg is 180 days, Court of Appeal is 60 days, Supreme Court 60 days. You are the only country in the world that is having this kind of experience, that you spend half a year allocated for the first stage of tribunal, and that particularly look at that of governors. For someone to be a governor in Nigeria, you go through 4 stages. INEC, after INEC, you go to that of the tribunal. From tribunal, go to the appeal. From appeal, go to Supreme Court. This is where we are. Now, if you look at the timeline with the innovations in INEC, unlike before, where, for instance, to make a register of voters, you have to make photocopies upon photocopies. With the development of the back end or total number accreditation, to get a register of voters now is a matter of seconds. Why do we still need this long period? Just one example, that why do you think that people don't need that anymore? It means that, for example, look at what happened in Kenya. Within 2 weeks, that is done. In Mexico, within 14 days. In Ghana, same thing. We don't even need that 285 days. But these are debates. These are arguments that we have made long before this election. But it's a case of the far corner. No longer listen to the far corner. That's the problem we have. Because we don't need that. Because we can return back to where we were in 1979, in 1983, where people, which of course is not the law at the moment. The law at the moment is that all those who have House of Assembly, House of Rep, governorship, presidential, whoever have been returned, we have to be sworn in. Then you have to go to court, where you are going to spend 6.5. Now, the implication of this are as follows. I'm not quickly saying this, which is the reason why I'm worried, and I've been saying this over the years, as we speak today, Dr. Abati, because of the sui generis nature of election petition. All the judges that have now been selected to be in the tribunal, all their civil and criminal docket are now on hold. Cases that have been off for over 20 years, 15 years, as we speak now, they are going to be on hold in abeyance for the next 6 months because the judges are on a various tribunal. Furthermore, cases of those who are require what they call fundamental enforcement of human rights, right now, you cannot have that done because most of the judges are now in the tribunal sitting. Also, prisoners, those who have been in correctional center, that have been having bail applications that have been pending, they are now on hold. All of that cannot be attended to as we speak right now because everybody in tribunal. Commercial business matters, commercial matters transactions in the country today, they are on hold. Nothing can go on. Investment decision is also on hold until all these matters are resolved. This is not the way we should go. We have told that with the direction of the innovations, of the technology in the system, or to ensure that immediately after election, let the business of governance kickstart immediately. Just last week about it. Last week, somebody called me from the US that a group of consortium who are coming, they've been planning to come to Nigeria since last year. They put the entire business plan that will involve millions of dollars investment in a state in Nigeria. But they said it will be after the election. After the election, now the Nigerian counterpart was asking his foreigner to now come. Oh, they said, look, we cannot come because we understand that your election is not yet over. We cannot bring the huge financial capital to Nigeria on account of that. And now the Nigerian counterpart was telling them that look, it was a matter of a week to be over and so on and so forth. He didn't know that his counterpart had done his own due diligence, and they told him that look, it will take 6 months. It was on the basis of that he called me and he put me on speaker. I didn't know, thinking that I would say something different from what he'd been told. And I confirmed to him that for governorship, it will take 6 months. At the Court of Appeal, it will take 60 days. Supreme Court, 60 days. That was what has put that on hold. So what is going on is that to the core, when I refer to the UK, is that everything was done by judge.
Honorable Guinea, let me come in here. I want you to tell us, what do you think could have happened? What could these technical glitches have been, despite the huge budget that was committed to this process?
I said everything I needed to say. I have made it clear to everybody that this is not the time for people like us to be talking about the profound benefit of the beavers. When we have situations where people were killed, People were prevented from voting. There was ethnic profiling. My family had been in Lagos since the 50s, in Sèŕìøùśly. My cousin, who were born in Lagos here, was to be beaten up in Sèŕìøùśly. He married to an Abekuta lady. My sister married to a Yoruba person in this Lagos. These things happened. These were not the things I campaigned about. There was a clarion call. The clarion call was very clear. People should come out because we have used it for 105 elections. Apart from Oshu, for instance, all other elections, they were not challenged in court. What was challenged was about, oh, you are not qualified, you didn't go to this school, all those governorship elections. None was actually challenged on terms of process and procedure. But we all witnessed what happened. And the first interview I ever got was to Arise Television. Now you have seen that parties have exchanged briefs in the tribunal. And that's why I said, look, there is not much of this. I granted interview, both in written form and to everybody, print, electronic. And I made it very clear that I'm still in shock about the behavior, what we saw, that the conduct of political class have not complemented the reform that we have made these years. And it's a tragedy that politicians conducted themselves in the most shameful manner. On the election day, one of our own, a Queen's Counsel, a professor who had very pressing matters outside Nigeria, but he placed Nigeria interest above every other thing. He flew down to the country, to Delta State, to go and vote. What he observed was a crime scene. He called me. That how could this be? We are talking one of the finest, the most celebrated Queen's Counsel we have. One that even the British legal community described as one who, whatever does not know in law, is not worth knowing. That was what he experienced. So Ayo, right now, I told you that in the best of our tradition, because I've also seen lately that people are going to specific right now as to what, people have exchanged brief already. I mean, you were asking me to be responding to the electoral management body's response to petitioner's brief. I mean, why should I go into that? I can't go into that. I shouldn't go into that. Let's wait for the court to decide that.
Honorable Igini, I'm sorry I had to interrupt you there to take our correspondence.
Yes, so Ayo, that is why I'm of the view that Nigeria cannot be in autarky of best practice around the world. That judiciary, the judges must remain very strict. You must discourage people from seeing judiciary as a safe haven for wrongdoing in our country. Society make progress on the basis of reward and sanction. Right now, briefs have been exchanged. It is not for me now to comment virtually. I mean, my greatest frustration for our country is that even when we see a stone coming, a stone seeing coming should not blind the eye. There are things that we have said over and over and over again, but yet nobody is listening. The rule of law, the first victim of the subversion of democracy is the rule of law. And that's why you must stand tall and mighty to discourage politicians. How can you be heard in England that a politician will boast in that they will do whatever they will like, they will go to the court in England and they will get what they want? It's unheard of. That was why judges, Jonathan Sumption, the retired Supreme Court Justice of England, one of the expanding empire of the court on political matters. For anybody to think that the decline of politics can be filled, that void can be filled by judiciary, is a fundamental error. Judges, judiciary, you must show to politicians that our judiciary cannot be. Look, the legal profession, it is one profession that is not just for making a living at all. It is one that has a special relationship with the society in terms of order. And that's why I said, if I come to this world again, I want to be a lawyer. But this time around, I will be in the bench so that I can wait for the enemies of society and see what they will do. So, Ayo, what happened? Our expectations in terms of not even having to have this huge number of cases in court is largely unmet. Where did they expect that this is the way it's going to go if everybody comply with the rules and regulations as we have put in place? Today, why is it that you spend half a year are we writing new law We are the only country where we spend so many years to write a law, then we spend half a year to want to interpret the law that we have written. It's a shame.
You've laid out the context, you've made your observations, you challenged the judiciary, but let's now talk about specific recommendations. You refer to Section 285 of the Constitution, where that's what we have in terms of time limitations. 285, 6, 7, 9, and all of that. But there is now a proposal on the table that look, and this is by Olusegun here, that look, the courts, the tribunals, they can resolve this within 7 days. Okay? But there are people who also have another view who say, well, Section 285 is what it is. That's what the law is. That's what the lawmakers have provided. Are you recommending a constitutional amendment, or do you think, as Agbakoba has recommended, that the judiciary, can just resolve these petitions in 7 days? Is it possible? Considering the fact that you have also pointed out that the courts are overburdened, and there are more urgent cases that will have to be in abeyance. That's one. Number two, we go back to the Waste Commission report. One of the major recommendations in the Waste Commission report is that, look, election matters should be determined before anybody occupies political office after elections. What do you think of that? Three, some people have suggested that there should be a complete reform of the judiciary, and that election petitions don't have to go all the way to the Supreme Court, and that the Supreme Court should just focus more on constitutional matter. So there have been so many of these recommendations. In fact, people say the responsibility of the court should even be to ban any politician that is involved in any act of rigging from getting involved in Nigerian politics for life. So these are some of the things on the table. But what are your own specific recommendations?
Thank you, Dr. Abati. Let's start from the issue about banning for life. That was with the measure they took in England. And that deter politicians by virtue of the 1883 Act, where you be banned for life from participating in politics. Number two, with respect to the views of the learned sake, Olusegun Agbakoba, is correct to the extent that it's speaking from the point of view of the current reforms in the system. As I mentioned to you before, it will take days when we're having purely manual system for INEC, when you seek for CTC of register of voters, to make photocopies of copies upon copies. It will take days, no light, there's no diesel, there's no that. But right now, the Electoral Act have made it clear that it must be provided in an electronic form. So in a matter of seconds, you will get that register. So you don't need much time to do that. Furthermore, and perhaps far more important, everyone who has been given job as a lawyer by INEC since 2010, that I went to the commission, all of them who are out there can confirm what I'm going to say here. And that is that from 2011, Dr. Abati, when we started these innovations, and more recently, whenever you are given a brief by the commission, and you come to me where I work, I made it clear to you that, look, in my jurisdiction, election was conducted. Whoever that have been returned, barring information on evidence that may not be known to me and to the commission, but if they are able to provide those evidence, we will help them in court to ensure that election is annulled. Ask all lawyers that have always come. I issue them a separate letter, because to kill what Olusegun Agbakoba is talking about, and that is that the evidential axiom under the Evidence Act, Section 131, we say that whoever asserts the existence of certain facts must prove. Is the reason why people believe that they can do whatever they do, and they go to court and say, go to court, come and prove. But the whole essence of the innovation, Dr. Abati, is to return, as I did, I will call them, that the onus to prove. I am a commissioner. I presided over this election. Now there are issues with respect to the return that have been made under my watch. I have a duty, by virtue of you reading clearly, and this is what the judges need to do. They need to read very clearly Section 136 of the Evidence Act, Section 140 of the Evidence Act, and for the purpose of this public engagement we are having today, which is the reason why I said judiciary must stand tall and mighty. Section 136 of the Evidence Act, which is what Olusegun Agbakoba is saying, because the whole of innovation is to return the duty, the responsibility to explain how a return is made to me. That's what I used to tell them, because I should be the one to explain how this return were made. Because that section says clearly, so section 2 of 36, that in considering the amount of evidence required to shift the burden of proof, regard shall be had to by the court or opportunity of the party who is in possession of the evidence in proving what has happened. That is very clear. Go to section 140. They can go and read it. What is the point here? To close on Olisa Bakuba's views on the time within which to bring this matter. It is that, as I told them, look, here in Akwa Ibom, here in Edo State, here in Cross River, I was the one that presided over the procedure, the process, recruited ad hoc staff, trained them, the technology that have been used, the material for the election, they are in my possession. I'm in a better position to explain how I made those returns. Go and ask all lawyers. They can confirm what I am telling you, Dr. Abati, that this is where it will go so timelessly. Because if the integrity of the process that I presided over is called to question, Dr. Abati, it is unfair to be, like what is going on right now, challenging people, talking about the person who have been returned, both petitioner and respondent. These are innocent people as far as I'm concerned. Because if you ask any person who have been returned as a member of the House of Assembly, House of Reps, Senate, and any other governorship and other, they don't even understand those things. It is the umpire, it is my son who presided over that have a better knowledge. I'm in possession of certain facts that are necessary to throw light on what has happened. So Agbakoba is right to the extent that having regard to the innovation, we may not need that. In any case, section 285 says within. It didn't say it must. I mean, how do you hear that about that half a year? We need half a year. Are we writing a new law? That is respect to that. Now, furthermore, on the issue of, try to remind me of the other two issues.
Quickly,
dealing with
the Waste Commission saying elections.
Yes.
Petitions should be determined
Yes,
before anybody
correct.
occupies office. But we have just about 2 minutes or 1 minute to go.
I will do that very quickly. Abati, look, we are in a country where whatever works for our country, we don't want to do it again. In 1979, in 1983, people were election petitions were resolved before people were sworn. When you do that, everybody will be up and doing. Nobody want to filibuster, all right, to see that it is done. Because if you don't do that, people go into office and begin to use public money. Why you hear about billions as legal fees going on? Where do they get that money from? Finally, on Uwais. Look, I've been hearing people talking about Uwais report. Abati, Dr. Abati, is so fortunate that even though we talk about it, let me be informed here that the former Attorney General and the late NAFDAC woman, Akuyili, they were members of that committee. Do you know that there was no white paper? That the entire profound recommendation were rejected. No bill ever sent to the National Assembly. It was only President Goodluck Jonathan, when he came on board, because of his quest for credible election, he appointed Professor Jega, who was a member of that committee. And what they did was, what we did was to now start implementing it. We started the implementation by first doing what we call the biometric compilation of register. That was one of the profound commendations. So I agree totally that for sanity to prevail, if this is a proposal for the future, not for now, it's for the future. But for now, this is the position of the law. But for the future, it is better, cleaner, that disputes are resolved before people are sworn in, so that the business of governance can take place immediately.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, good day, my brothers and sisters, my mummies and my daddies over there. Is your sister again, your doctor, your friend, your girl, Anointed Lady TV. Please, if today is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, please do subscribe for me. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video, you will be notified. So in this my channel, I will be bringing up many things to you in which you will benefit from it. I do talk show, I do news, anything you want to talk about, I am into it. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video or each time I'm on live on YouTube, you will be notified. Thank you very much for always being there for me. Please do subscribe for me, and as you do so, God will richly bless you and meet your heart desire. Thank you very much. I love you all.